What's up, everybody? Ben Reza here for Stokastic. We're back. We're ready to rock. It is the Canadian Open. It's not the U.S. Open. That'll be here soon enough, but we've got golf. We've got a full field for a change. Coming off Memorial, we'll recap some of that. Not a lot of the same players. We're going to look to the new course. We're going to look to the new venue, and we're going to have some fun and hopefully find ways to make some money, talk about the tools. I'll showcase them on this very video, and we're going to just break down all things Canadian Open on a DFS angle. And that's what we do here at Stokastic. Picks, tools, breakdowns of every slate, every sport. If you want to play DFS, this is where you want to be. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Shout out to Scotty Scheffler. He won again. We know the drill. He wins. He's not here. He still might win somehow. But we got a different type of field to work with in a different situation. So not that often on tour do we say course history. Nope, don't have any. That's kind of what we're dealing with here because this is a rotational. We're in Toronto, and we're at a course that, I mean, I'm certainly unfamiliar with. And I like that. I'm glad because I think that it gives us a different layout, a different venue. You know, we've seen Hamilton, we've seen Oakdale, St. George, some of these other venues. This is one that we haven't seen. So the mystery of how's it going to play? What do we know about, TPC Toronto, I believe it's called. And that's really what it's going to be about this week. Can we understand what you need? Can we understand what skill set? Let's dive right into it. So let's start there. Let's start with the course and what these players are going to be facing at TPC Toronto, which is looks pretty long. It's a par 70 layout, but it's pretty long. It's north of 7,300. And when you look at it, I think that's going to yield some opportunities for these longer hitters. From what I've seen, I don't want to say Aaron Hills because that was crazy long, and I think that's different, but generous fairways. So I don't think there's going to be a lot that separates you in terms of accuracy off the tee, but the further hitters are going to be able to pull driver and feel pretty confident they can keep it out of the ugly stuff. And if you do that, you'll have shorter irons. If you don't, you still should be in the fairway, but your longer irons are going to come into play here. There are some monster par fours on this venue. I don't think it's going to play crazy difficult from what again, and let's be honest, I haven't flew to Toronto and seen the course. What do I know? But just looking at it, gathering what I've seen, I don't think around the green is going to be a torture chamber. I don't think the greens themselves are going to be crazy. So it looks pretty straightforward. I think guys will be able to score, but there is a predominant lean to off the tee, in my opinion. And some guys, they can get it out there. It doesn't mean that you only have to go that route. And last thing I say before we get into these players, when you haven't seen a course, I think it's even better to skill set stack because everyone could be wrong. It could be crazy around the green. It could be crazy low scoring, crazy high scoring, crazy difficult, crazy easy. We don't know. So try to group some of those. The more you can quantify and correlate the unknown, the better you'll be in any situation, but especially in this. But all that, let's get to what we want to do. Let's get to the players. Come on now. Let's have some fun. And I just brought up our data hub. I'm going to use this to kind of go through. Again, it's all part of what we've got here at Stokastic, and I will showcase plenty of that for you guys as we go. Let's get into it. Rory, 11-9. So we don't have, first thing that stands out, we don't have Scheffler, so the build itself is going to be very different. We don't have 13,600 to one player. We don't have 13,300 to one player. 11-9 is a very normal price for your top end guy. 10-5. 10-1. First thing that I noticed when I looked at this pricing, there's just not a lot of pay-up options. You've got Rory, Hebert, and Corey Connors. That's it, though. You can obviously take two of them if you want. Then you'll really be punting, but it can be done. And you obviously can go balance because I just mentioned three guys. Rory's going to be very popular. He's the class of the field. He's the favorite. He should be. Everyone else, again, it's a pretty standard breakdown for me. I'll have a little more Rory. Who knows, people rightfully so. He won the Masters. He was not good at the PGA. He's only played a couple times, though. I'm not overly concerned. Hebert has been lower owned than his peers for a little while now. At Memorial, that was the first sign of some really crisp ball striking, though. He got it together off the tee. We know the talent is there. He was really good at the Masters, even with no form. He was not good at the PGA. I'm fine with that. And then Corey Connors is kind of the opposite to me. He's just as reliable as it gets. The guy hasn't missed a cut since January. He was 25th at Memorial, and you can look at it one of two ways. One, it's amazing he was 25th because his ball striking was horrendous. Flip side, it's amazing he was 25th because he was so hot with the putter. That's the type of event he should be winning if he's going to gain strokes like that. If I had to order him in terms of my preference, it would be in order of the pricing. Rory over Hebert over Connors. Obviously fine with all of them. There's a lot of guys. So let's start getting to it. Shane Lowry would be next if you're going quote unquote balanced sub 10K starting point. I do think he'll get a boost if you think it's going to be difficult. That's just kind of how he plays. He's built for that type of golf. His putter at times can let him down. I'm not in love with the spot. I would have him behind the first three guys that I mentioned. Now we've got Burns. Bobby Mack is up here. Let me sort by pricing, by the way. Yeah, okay. Bobby Mack, Pendrith at 96. What a world, even though I get it. Sanjay, Sam Burns, Harry Hall, Keith Mitchell, Luke Clanton. So we see, I think pretty clearly, this field is not strong as the depth comes down. No disrespect to some of these guys, but a lot of these are mid 7K players in stronger fields and certainly in majors and things like that. And now they could be our first man in. Your first man in could be Taylor Pendrith, who is another Canadian. He's been playing great. He was 12th at the Memorial. He didn't putt at all. 5th at the PGA. So obviously got it going on. I prefer Sam Burns of the group that I just mentioned. He's also getting it together. His putter is automatic. His ball striking hasn't been great, but it's starting to regress in a positive direction. I think this is a pretty good layout for him. If he can lean off the tee and lean with the putter, he's got that combination. I don't know if I want to start with him, maybe on a few, but I think it's going to be a Sam Burns +1. I like Sanjay as well, right above him. Again, he's not a prolific driver of the ball in terms of, I don't picture him as like a mega bomber, but he does gain consistently off the tee. He's very consistent off the tee, and that's what I like. Now, what I don't understand about Sanjay, he has been wildly consistent with the irons in the wrong direction. He has lost strokes on the approach in 9 straight events. I don't understand what's going on. That was not a problem with his game, and it has been for quite a while. That's preventing these top-end finishes. That's something we're going to have to deal with. So keep that in mind. But if you're looking for the best drivers here, it's going to be Taylor Pendrith, Keith Mitchell. Clanton, I don't really know what to do with him. I'll be honest. We've seen the talent. He was runner-up at John Deere, RSM, and now he's back for real. And I'm fine with it. He's great coming in again. We'll see how this updates around 10% ownership. I might kind of just cover the field and move on there. It looks like Burns is going to be really popular. That's disappointing. I wanted to get leverage, and I still might, but man, if he really comes in around 30%, that is a bummer. It looks like Rory Burns combos will be prevalent. Keep that in mind. Keith Mitchell comes first round leader apparently every week. Keep that in mind somehow. Let's talk about the 8K range. Mackenzie Hughes, Nick Taylor, a lot of Canadians up there. Thunder Bear, Mr. Olison, Wyndham Clark, Alex Noren, Kurt Kitayama, Goddard, certainly a bomber. Max Homa off a heartbreaking U.S. Open miss. Eric Cole, Matt Wallace, we'll get to those guys as well. Olison has been a guy that I've been buying. The price is starting to rise. The form isn't rising, but it's not really falling either. He made another cut at Charles Schwab. You're not really looking for a cut maker at 87, but he's good off the tee. I still believe he's got the talent to win on tour. I'm fine with him. No problem there. A guy like Mackenzie Hughes is interesting in the sense that he has a different skill set than most. He's not a good driver of the ball. He's an incredible short game player. I don't think that's how it plays, but neither does anyone else. You can see he's coming in at 7% ownership. I might do some short game centric stacks. He would be included in those. You've got, in terms of positive leverage, Wyndham Clark. That's a name, obviously we know he can beat the best fields in the world. He's not playing like it though. I think that's going to be a pass for me. His irons are just not where I need them to be. Really struggling on the approach right now. I'd rather go to Kitayama or Goddard. Those are two good drivers of the ball. Kitayama, he just bounces back wildly here and there. He's a volatile player. Just to read off some of the results, 39th in Houston, missed cut at Valero. Then he just comes in 5th at the CJ Cup. Then he misses the cut at the PGA. Bounces back with a 22nd and Charles Schwab. There's just a lot going on there. But that's okay for tournaments. I can live with that. He does great out somewhat favorably, sub 10%. The leverage isn't great, but the projection is fine. I'm okay with it. Got her up similar. He's got a better leverage score because we're projecting him sub 5%. It's a big price bump. He hasn't been in the 8s too often, but he's playing good golf. 3 out of 4 inside the top 30. Off the tee is reliable. I'm fine with got her up. These are the mid-range plays I'll probably attach to. I'm not super interested in Homa. Rasmus, that's a guy that I can get on board with. It's just a talent situation for me. I think he's a really talented player. He's got to get it together. He, at times, really can putt. He's started to show some flashes. He's another one, though. The irons are just not where they need to be. You're hoping that off the tee and short game can mask that, but for real upside, you have to have your irons. You just have to. These guys are too good on tour to not have solid iron play. So simple as that. In terms of the ownership, there's not a ton of quote-unquote mega chalk in this range. I'm just scrolling up and down. Noren, who's a guy that, if you know me, you know I'm an Alex Noren fan. He came back and healthy, apparently, 17th at the PGA, 39th at the Memorial. I'm fine with Noren. It's kind of neutral. I just don't really understand why he would be 15%. But he also is playing pretty good off his little, return here. So I do get it. I'm not going to have a major position on him. When you look at the 8s, though, to me, it's more of a range that if you bypassed it, if you went like 2 or 3 north and 2 or 3 south, or 2 or 4, 3 or 4, I should say, I don't think you're going to be that hurt. So I definitely, and we're going to mess around, before I get out of here for sure, with the lineup builder, the single lineup sim, which is one of my favorite tools. I think that we're going to be able to build some lineups very similar to that and be just fine. Again, it's all part of why you want to get involved here at Stokastic. After I get through this next range, I'll tell you how to do just that. Let's scroll down a little bit, though, to the mid-range. And when we get into the mid-range, Detry, Davis Riley, John Kiefer. This guy, I've got more DMs and more tweets about this guy than anyone in the field. Kevin Yu, Jake Knapp, Gary Woodland, Ryan Fox, Justin Rose, Ryo, Smalley, Moore. The other 3 are important, even though don't play him, obviously. Schmid, Cam Young, Moeller, just names on names on names. It's an interesting range. There's not a ton of ownership for the majority of these guys. Ryan Fox looks like he's going to be kind of a staple of lineups in the middle, and I get why. So Ryan Fox, he's consistent. Guy doesn't miss a lot of cuts. He's missed like a couple, 6. He's made 6 of 7 cuts. He's got a top 20 at Memorial, 20th on the number, 28th at the PGA. He gains off the tee, kind of can play in any conditions. His price is reasonable. It just checks a lot of boxes. You could say a lot of the same, and I think people are, about Gary Woodland. Off the tee is pretty solid. He's certainly shown some, although not everything this year. It's come together. 11th at Charles Schwab. It was mostly due to putting. I want to point that out. He was a runner-up in Houston, and he has also made 6 of 7 cuts. Those 2 are going to be popular. Who are the pivots off them? To me, I think that a guy like Kevin Yu is an interesting pivot. We know what he can do. Really good off the tee. Another guy like that. A little more erratic, and it's all because his short game is just not any good. No disrespect. His putting is weak. He's lost in 8 of 9 on the greens. He's lost in 3 of 4 around the greens. That's kind of what holds him back. John Kiefer. This is a guy that, again, he's shown some real promise on, obviously not the PGA Tour, but elsewhere. He's got some firepower. Skill set's a mystery. How he'll react in a situation like this is a mystery. But the books are, if you look at the betting lines, and I think that's an important piece of any puzzle, they are pricing him like he can play immediately. And what he's done, again, on the Korn Ferry Tour and whatnot, is pretty impressive. The guy is definitely a player. Now, again, I don't know where exactly you put him in. Is he overpriced? Is he underpriced? I think the answer is we just simply don't know. But if you look at this field and you look at a Korn Ferry field, they're not that much different, and he has been fantastic down there. So he's a name. Obviously, if he was in the lower 7s or upper 6s, I think he would really be potential chalk. Enough people know about him to feel comfortable. At 78, he's still getting some ownership, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Just scroll down, Ryo, Smalley, Moore. There are names down here. Cameron Young, who ended up winning that playoff over Ricky and a couple others to set himself up for US Open. I actually like Cameron Young in this spot. I know he's an erratic player, but I like the firepower. I think this is a good course for him, and I'm going to try to buy on what I think about the course. You need to take some stands on how you think this plays. If we get that right, I think we could see some good things from Cam Young here. He's going to be an important piece for me. Smalley will also be important. He hasn't really put it all together, but I think he's playing better than his results have indicated. He's been consistently good off the tee. His irons are not bad, and his putting is indifferent. So I don't really understand why he's missed 4 of 6 cuts. I think it's just some bad variance there. Before that, he was he was 10th in Mexico, 18th at the Cognizant, 14th at the Players. Smalley's fine for me. 15% ownership I don't love. But again, we'll see how these tools mature as more information comes in. Hopefully he comes in more around 10%, and it's nothing crazy. A couple other guys to round out the 7s. Benyon, Hubbard, Doug Gim. I think he does make a lot of sense. His leverage isn't great, but that's because of the popularity in the range. And then you've got kind of a mixed bag. You've got bombers like EVR, who can be crazy off the tee. Rico can be a wild man. Seamus is a project that I keep getting to. And then stuff happens. I think I have to cool it on him. It's just 4 or 5 cuts. I want to be a genius and say keep buying, but I just can't do it. I just simply can't do it with him. There's too many other names in the same range. I prefer Gim. I prefer Rico. Sam Ryder's kind of a 1 in a million dart throw. Tom Kim is down there. Not a range I really like. It's going to be mix and match for me when we get down here. And then let's round out the 7s, and then I'm going to talk about, again, how you can formulate what I'm talking about here, which is kind of like a first look in nature with the tools. And that's really the genesis of how I think the best way to build lineups are. You've got a couple Svensons. You've got McCarthy, Salinda, not Denny, obviously. Grillo, ding, ding, ding. This is the man right here. Phillips, Molinax, got some other dudes. Grillo is. I know I joke about I'm wearing the Argentinian colors. He's maybe my favorite golfer. I love the spot for him though. Love the spot at 71. That's a price he's always at. He was 16th at Charles Schwab. He was 18th at Valero. He gained 6 strokes on the approach at Charles Schwab. He's gained 3 straight weeks on the approach. He's gained 4 out of 5 with the putter. He's gained 7 out of 8 off the tee. Around the green is weak. It's not a big deal here if my read on the course is right. One of the most important players for me on the slate will be my guy, Grillo. I do think you could take a shot with Ricky Castillo right next to him, just as a flyer. If he's only going to be 1 or 2%, he's going to be in my player pool. And I will see. I will see if the Sims give me any of him, and that's kind of what I wanted to make sure you guys are aware of. If you haven't signed up for our Sims, if you haven't signed up for our data, if you haven't signed up for any of the tools here at Stokastic, with the US Open on deck, come and give it a shot. Come and consider it. I brought the packages up on the screen. Obviously, some of the results, let's be real. When someone wins $1 million, it's always a cause to celebrate. And we had that just a couple weeks ago. There's been a lot of great testimonials of people using the tools and really seeing the results. I use them every single week. And whether I win or lose, I know my process is sound because I go into one of my favorite tools on this data hub is the post-contest simulator, where it's not just about building my lineups, it's about reviewing the lineups I just saw from the whole tournament. Who had strong lineups, who had weak lineups, who ran hot, who ran cold, things like that. If you want to come see these tools, from generating simulations to using the single lineup simulator, just to getting this data, it's all available. Find the package that works for you, whether it's a casual one for a very affordable price to something where you say, I'm going to take this very, very seriously. Absolutely find what works for you. The link is below. Test it out this week, and if you love it, stay for the US Open. That would be my honest advice. Find the package that works for you and give these tools a try. Can't recommend them enough. You've seen the success in NBA. Took the same concepts, we put them into PGA. Now, I don't think the tools can make Grillo win the tournament, but we're going to sure try. Who else do we want to go to here? I mean, the range is really weak, let's be honest. Rosner, he's someone on my list. He also is going to be the most popular, it looks like, in this range. He's the type of guy, he doesn't have a ton of great finishes, but he really finds the weekend. We talked about him last night. I actually tweeted this out at JazzRaz Bets. He just seems to have a way to handle any type of layout. He just does this thing, and it's mostly with the ball striking. Consistently good. He's made 8 straight cuts. I'm fine with him. Around him is mostly flyers, though. Hadwin, I'm okay with. I looked at Fishburne, but all these guys, I don't imagine getting a ton of in the Sims. I think 1 or 2 pieces here or there, and that'll be about it. I want to look a little at Nick Hardy. I'm actually doing this on the fly. He's not on my list as I prep for the show, but he graded out clearly pretty nice in our tools right here. You see a good leverage score on him. Let's see what the hell is going on with Nick Hardy. Nick Hardy. Okay, he was 11th at Charles Schwab. That broke a really bad run of form. So we're kind of flying blind. Man, he had been rough in 2025. I like Nick Hardy too. So I guess you're kind of backing maybe he found something. I guess simple as that. There's not a ton to get into there with these cheapies. Takumi Kanaya, he's another one similar in that vein. I think Chris Ventura will be where people go if they have to go in this range because he's certainly aggressive off the tee. He can really score. He's someone that's shown some promise. And down here, there's just not a lot. You're not going to find a ton of complete games. Much of anything. You don't have to go down here with a full field, but at the same time, I don't think you should really be that scared. There are plenty of names if you like some of these guys. Sneds, I think that was, I don't know what he did at Memorial when he was just shooting like 15 under when everyone else was 10 over, but I'm not going to chase that. And this is probably basically my drop dead point of I don't want to go lower than this. Jeremy Paul is a macro buy for me right now. What I mean by that is this is just a read from me. I've identified that I think he could have some big finishes in these type of events, and I'm going to continue to have him in the pool. He's shown pretty much nothing. He was 16th in Puerto Rico and 22nd at Valspar. Since then, he's missed 3 cuts, 59th at Charles Schwab. I still like the game for this guy, and he's kind of a dark horse of not going to be owned. He fits a weird range that I don't like a lot. If you're looking for a last man in, consider Jeremy Paul as that type of, again, huge risk, but potential reward. As we get to the next page, it just gets worse, to be completely honest. You see there's like no ownership down here. Shout out to Aaron Wise, one of my favorite golfers. He's back. I'm not playing him in anything important, at least. It's good to have him back. And then you just see, I don't think there's any reason to go down here. Mostly, 2 reasons. 1, most of these guys are going to get cut. 2, we talked about this at the top. What are you doing that for? It's not to go get Scheffler at 13.9. It's just not there. So yes, of course, if you want like Rory and Bear and someone else expensive, you would have to do it. I just don't see it this week in that realm. Let's see for ourselves, though. Let's have some fun on the way out. And again, there's a guy I didn't get to. Make sure you hit me up in Discord. If you sign up for any package, you get right into the Stokastic Discord. I'm happy to answer any questions, or you can tweet me, JazzRaz Bets. I have the single lineup simulator up right on the screen. It's if you're building for like single entry, or you just want to mess around with lineups, it's a great way to do it. It really is. So I'm going to take a couple of cheapies. I mentioned Fishburne as kind of a flyer. Rosner, I think, is good. Putting in my man Grillo because I just know I want him. Now, let's see. I'm going to go to show only affordable players. Obviously, we can afford everyone. So we've got 3 cheapies. We can do some cool stuff up here. Let's see if we go Rory. We've got 86, 50 for 2 spots. All right, let's see what happens if we go Burns. Flat 8? Yeah, this will work fine. Detry. Honestly, let's go with our man. We got Kiefer right here. Leave a couple $100 on the table. So you put in your lineup, boom, you press run simulation. This is what I love about this tool. And quickly and easily, you're going to get a glimpse. It's not the end all be all, but you'll get an indication of, are we on the right track? You know, if it grades out positively, it might be a lineup you want to run. If it grades out negatively, you might want to do a 2v2 or something like that. We're close to about break even. It's nothing crazy. And then again, you can just flip around, take a guy out, take a guy in. Very, very simple stuff. You can sort by value. Obviously, these lower guys, they have some higher values, but that's also because, again, you don't have to use all salary, but when you get down there, I would recommend not leaving like an insane amount on the table. Let's see. We'll do one more just for again. Honestly, Woodland. So you got Burns. What is this? I like this lineup a little better, actually. You've got kind of a strong driving core here. Gim makes a lot of sense. Fishburne's the wild card. He's kind of the leverage. He's 3% on. It's dealer's choice. There's a million guys down there that fit that. Again, in that same ballpark, but this is the beautiful thing about this tool. Again, you can, bombers, and then you have these lineups that you can go back to. Really, really cool stuff. You do a second lineup, you can export them. Again, it's all part of the Stokastic plans. You get these tools in addition to a lot of other things. You see the single lineup simulator is available with 3 out of these 4. Really, really cool stuff. Come and play around with it for yourself. The link is below. It's great stuff, particularly if you're playing those 3 max or single entry. You don't need to crunch or generate 150. Very, very simple stuff. All right, before we get out of here we go. We'll go right back to the top. Again, good rundown here. I hope you found this informative. It's a weird tournament. My final thoughts are what I kind of said at the beginning. I just want to tie it back up. When we go to Augusta and we go to Muirfield Village and we go to Heritage, what the course is going to demand. There's some tweaks, there's some wind, there's some variance, but it doesn't change week to week. When you go to an unknown venue, we just simply don't know how hard this course is going to be. We just don't know the skill set demanded. We can infer, and with that, I think you would be really poised to kind of group some of those guys and plan for different scenarios. Because if you catch lightning in the bottle and you get it right in terms of how difficult or what skill sets, you're going to be at a big time advantage over the rest of the field in your tournaments. And that is something I'm really going to do today, or this week, I should say, rather, and see what we get. Obviously, Rory up top's the man to beat. Sam Burns, Sanjay, my man Griot. A lot of different ways this tournament goes. And hopefully we see some of those Stokastic avatars at the very top. On that note, friends, I'm going to bounce on out of here. Short and sweet. Hopefully, again, you found this informative. If you have any questions, at JazzRazBets, or you can find me in Discord. Let's see some winning screenshots. And when you do, make sure you tweet me. I like to celebrate those. Hopefully, I'll be at the top along with you. But on that note, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Hit the like button on your way out. Good luck. Get ready next week. US Open.